Have both feet flat on the floor if you are sitting at your desk about a hip's width apart, and your shoulders are aligned with your hips. And imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just put some space in between your vertebrae. Try and align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. Notice the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. And particularly draw attention if you are noticing the rising and the falling of the chest, but notice it's more than that. Your breath expands in a 360-degree direction. You've got these two balloons inside you, your lungs. And it would be great if we could all breathe a little more fully into our lungs. So just imagine as you're breathing in, you're expanding the lungs in the back, in the side, and in the front, as well as your chest, upper chest. Be aware of any sound in your environment. So try not to run off and investigate with the mind. So just allow those sounds to be there. And then notice maybe what thoughts are arising this evening in your mind. So try not to follow the stories that might be arising in the mind. You know, we see someone or we meet someone or we talk to someone, there's a million and one things going on in our mind. Usually it's our interpretation of what's going on with them. And it may or may not be correct. This is one form of story. So just allow all the stories to bubble up. And then maybe just, rather than following the storyline, just kind of maybe let that storyline go. And observe your mind with a level of curiosity and objectivity. And perhaps you could think about moving around the world in a similar fashion. curious, observant, and objective. And then bring to mind all the people of our life, so our very precious loved ones. And then there's those people in our life who we don't like so much or who we mistrust somehow. And then there's our strangers. Remember, they're all equal in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering, and having this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we think about all these people of our life, and then all the people, all the sentient beings in the universes, they're all kind of the same. They're just like you and me. So they all have this ability to purify as well. They all have this extraordinary potential, and they all just want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. So in this way, we can think about doing this meditation for their benefit as well as ours. So we create negativity with our mind. That's where it starts. So we can change the way we think about things. It takes a huge amount of discipline because we have these habits, habit energies. It's one of my Tai Chi Chuan teachers talked about. So this, if only all this practice does is just help you create a level of awareness about all of our different habits. And that's just fantastic. It's a start. So we'll sincerely regret the first of the four opponent powers from the depths of your heart. Anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our future lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want this future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And then also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you can imagine Vajrasattva is sitting above the crown of your head, facing the same way as you, about an inch or two above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And we have a little section here about developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So this is why it's in this section called reliance. So, so think about the beings you've harmed and have a wish for them to be free from suffering. And then think about the beings who have harmed you. And then particularly have a wish for them to be free from suffering, because the harm they've caused you is going to kind of come back to them sometime in the future. So interestingly, we've seen a number of public figures who've done things like illegally or unacceptable and hurt others with their illegal actions. And, there is the law of the land, and it does come back. Sometimes they have the karma to be caught and, have to pay out lots of money, or they have to go to prison or whatever. But, this is a karmic law. It's a natural law. We have the law of the land, the law of the country, and then we have this natural law. And so for those people who may be causing, through their actions, through their policies, through their, their wish for their own power, they're harming others, with bombs or with this or with that, stealing, all this kind of thing. It's going to come back. Maybe not this life. Maybe it looks as if they're kind of getting away with it, but they're really not. So you have a strong wish for them to be free from suffering, because they will suffer some point in the future. And it's not a matter of, being gleeful about, hey, they're going to get theirs. It's a matter of, it's a little bit, I don't know, not scary, but it's like, wow, it's kind of heavy. So you wish for them to be free from suffering, also have compassion for them. So next we come to the power of the remedy, and this is doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasiti mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasiti mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasiti mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a humpe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted at all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with this body of yours. And next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. Except this time, forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs, all our inappropriate speech. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriam kuru hum ha ho bhagawan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita drita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is this purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you just imagine you walk into a room, it's pitch black, you flick on the switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. So the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment, neediness, anxiety, depression, bitterness, grudges, disappointments, all of this, jealousy, instantly dispelled. Not one atom left. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe. So I think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion, that all your delusions are gone. And next is this purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine Vajrasattva sending light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa Sitokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta miboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe ambhadrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita trita miboa situkaya miboa sipokaya miboa Anarakta miboa sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriam guru hum ha ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a humpe. Vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita drita meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a humpe. Vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita Drita meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me, sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ah hum te. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's a really crucial one where we decide we don't want to harm, or we want to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So first of all, rejoice in your efforts coming along here, and then think of something that you'd like to work on. You know, your opinions about others, your opinions about yourself. Maybe you have a habit to ruminate. Maybe you're just a little forgetful and pick up pens and walk off with them. You know, things like this. You don't have to deal with the big stuff. And when you are dealing with things, you know, your own personal habits that might be harmful, try not to be too hard on yourself. It's a thing, we're doing it, let's not do this anymore, or let's think about refraining from doing it. So just kind of don't make it too heavy. And imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So you'd think in emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do chanting the names of Manjushri. The sovereign of the gods, the god of gods, Azura Lord, the ruler of immortals, the king of deities, the god's guru, the highest lord of pramatas, pramata, emerged from cyclic's life's imposing forest, the single teacher, guru for all beings, in every well-known world, in all directions, the eminent bestower of the Dhamma, concealed by armor made of loving kindness, well shielded by the shield of empathy, with wisdom sword in hand, with bow and arrow, concluding war with ignorance and clashes. I love the armor made of loving kindness. I think that's pretty cool. All right, everybody. A strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, and then the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and then for all of your own precious personal individual teachers. Okay, everyone. Lots of love. I'll see you tomorrow morning. If anybody feels inspired to recommend something for tomorrow morning? What would you like to do? A little bit of Tara to help with the election, maybe? I don't know.